Hare Krishna, dear Prabhus, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhus, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, stand up and Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Okay, Haribo, now we start. Who wants to read Mangalacharan prayers?
I can read, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you so much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanachminandasya Dhananjana Shalakayam Chaksunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Dam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishnam Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Scham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyashcham Kripa Sindhubhyayvacham Chitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutare Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachari Shatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadar Shvasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Nalotamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dilayet Shrinvatam Swakata Krishnam Punya Shlavanam Kirtanam Vidyantasto Yabhadrani Vidunoti Surit Satam Nastam Prayeva Padreshum Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavatyuttama Shlokem Bhaktil Bhavati Naishtikim. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana Ilishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma Supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in the class of Bhagavatam, on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Canto Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Haribo.
Hari Haribo. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, who wants to read first? From text 28.
I want to read first. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Praveen Prabhu Dandar
Hare
Pranjay.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Buddhana Pranjay Srila Prabhupada. I want to read
Accept
Yes,
my humble
Prabhu.
obeisances, Yoga Shila Prabhupada.
Canto 4, Chapter 2, Text 28. Bhavavrata Dhara ye cha tan samanvrutaha pashandinaste bhagavantu sachastra paripanthinah. Synonyms: Bhava Dharaha, taking a vow to satisfy Lord Shiva. Ye, who, cha, and ye, who, cha, and tan, such principles. Samanuvrataha, following. Pashandinaha, atheists. They. Bhavantu, let them become. Satshastra Paripantinaha, diverted from transcendental spiritual injunctions. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: One who takes a vow to satisfy Lord Shiva or who follows such principles will certainly become an atheist and be diverted from transcendental spiritual injunctions. Purport: It is sometimes seen that devotees of Lord Shiva imitate the characteristics of Lord Shiva. For example, Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison, so some of the followers of Lord Shiva imitate him and try to take intoxicants like ganja, marijuana. Here, the curse is that if someone follows such principles, he must become an infidel and turn against the principles of Vedic regulation. It is said that such devotees of Lord Shiva will be Sachastra Paripantinaha, which means opposed to the conclusion of Shastra or scripture. This is confirmed in the Padma Purana also. Lord Shiva was ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to preach the impersonal or Mayavadi philosophy for a particular purpose, just as Lord Buddha preached the philosophy of voidness for particular purposes mentioned in the Shastras. Sometimes it is necessary to preach a philosophical doctrine which is against the Vedic conclusion. In the Shiva Purana, it is stated that Lord Shiva said to Parvati that in the Kali Yuga, in the body of a Brahmana, he would preach the Mayavadi philosophy. Thus, generally, it is found that the worshippers of Lord Shiva are Mayavadi philosophers, Mayavadi followers. Lord Shiva himself says, Mayavadam Asachastram. Asat as explained here, means the doctrine of Mayavadi, impersonalism, or becoming one with the Supreme. Brigumani cursed that persons who worshipped Lord Shiva would become followers of this Mayavadi Asat. It is called Asat because the Mayavadi doctrine attempts to establish that the Supreme Personality of God it is impersonal. Besides that, among the worshippers of Lord Shiva, there is a section who lives in a devilish life. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Narada Pancharatra are authorized scriptures that are considered Satshastra or scriptures which lead one to the path of God realization. Asatshastras are just the opposite. Text 29. Nashta Saucha Mudha धियो जटा भस्मास्ति धारिणः विशन्तु शिव दीक्षायां यत्र दैवं सुरासवं. Synonyms: Nashta Sauchaha, cleanliness being abandoned. Modha Dhiyaha, foolish. Jata Basmasti Dharinaha, wearing long hair, ashes and bones. Vishantu, may enter Shiva Dikshayam, into initiation of worship of Shiva. Yatra, where Daivam or spiritual, Sura, Ashamam, wine and liquor. Translation: Those who vow to worship Lord Shiva are so foolish that they imitate him by keeping long hair on their heads. When initiated into worship of Lord Shiva, they prefer to live on wine, flesh, and other such things. Purport: indulging in wine and meat, keeping long hair on one's head, not bathing daily, and smoking ganja, marijuana are some of the habits which are accepted by foolish creatures who do not have regulated lives. By such behavior, one becomes devoid of transcendental knowledge. In the initiation into the Shiva mantra, there are mudrikashtaka, in which it is sometimes recommended that one make his sitting place on the vagina and thus desire nirvana or resolution of existence. In the process of worship, wine is needed, or sometimes in place of wine, palm tree juice, which is converted into an intoxicant. This is also offered according to Shiva Agama, a scripture on the method of worshipping Lord Shiva. Text 30. Brahmacha brahmanamschaiva yad yuyam parinindatha setum vidharanam Pumsam atah pashandam ashritah synonyms Brahma, the Vedas, cha and Brahmanan, the Brahmanas, cha and eva certainly, yet because you parinindatha blaspheme, setum Vedic principles, vidharanam holding pumsam of mankind, ataha therefore, pashandam atheism, ashrita have taken shelter. Translation: Bhrugumuni continued, since you blaspheme the Vedas and the Brahmanas, who are followers of the Vedic principles, it is understood that you have already taken shelter of the doctrine of atheism. Purport: Bhrugumuni, in cursing Nandishvara, said that not only would they be degraded as atheists because of his curse, but they had already fallen to the standard of atheism because they had blasphemed the Vedas, which are the source of human civilization. Human civilization is based on the qualitative divisions of social order, namely the intelligence class, the marital class, the productive class, and the laborer class. The Vedas provide the right direction for advancing in spiritual cultivation and economic development and regulating the principle of sense gratification so that ultimately one may be liberated from material contamination to his real state of spiritual identification, aham brahmasmi. As long as one is in the contamination of material existence, he changes bodies from the aquatics up to the position of brahma, but the human form of life is the highest perfectional life in the material world. The Vedas give direction how to elevate oneself in the next life. So, the Vedas are the mother for such instructions, and the Brahmanas or persons who are in knowledge of the Vedas are the father. Thus, if one blasphemes the Vedas and Brahmanas, naturally one goes down to the status of atheism. The exact word used in Sanskrit is Nastika, which means one who does not believe in the Vedas but manufactures some uh, concocted system of religion. Manufactures some concordant system of religion. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that the followers of the Buddhist system of religion are Nastikas. In order to establish his doctrine of non-violence, Lord Buddha flatly refused to believe in the Vedas, and thus later on Shankaracharya stopped this system of religion in India and forced it to go outside India. It is stated Brahmacha Brahmanan. Brahma means the Vedas. Aham Brahmasmi means I am in full knowledge. The Vedic assertion is that one should think that he is Brahman, for actually he is Brahman. If Brahman or the Vedic spiritual science is condemned, and the masters of the spiritual science, the Brahmanas, are condemned, then where does human civilization stand? Brahmani says, it is not due to my cursing that you shall become atheists. You are already situated in the principle of atheism. Therefore, you are condemned. Next 31. एष एवि हि लोकानां शिवः पन्थाः सनातनः यं पूर्वे चानुसन्तस्थुर्यत् प्रमाणं जनार्दनः synonyms एषः the Vedas Eva, certainly, he, per, lokanam, of all people, Shivaha, auspicious, Pantaha, path, Sanatanaha, eternal, Yam, which Vedic path, Purve, in the past, Cha, and Anusantastuhu, was rigidly followed, Yat, in which Pramanam, the evidence, Janardanaha, Janardana. Translation: the Vedas give the eternal regulative principles for auspicious advancement in human civilization, which have been rigidly followed in the past. The strong evidence of this principle is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is called Janardana, the well-wisher of all living entities. Purport: in the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, has claimed that he is the father of all living entities, regardless of form. There are 8.4 million different species of life forms, and Lord Krishna claims that he is the father of all. Because the living entities are parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are all sons of the Lord, and for their benefit, because they are hovering under the impression that they can lord it over material nature, the Vedas are given to them for their guidance. Therefore, the Vedas are called Apurusheya, for they are not written by any man or demigod, including the first living creature, Brahma. Brahma is not the creator or author of the Vedas. He is also one of the living beings in the material world. Therefore, he does not have the power to write or speak the Vedas independently. Every living entity within this material world is subject to four deficiencies. He commits mistakes. He accepts one thing for another. He cheats, and he has imperfect senses. The Vedas, however, are not written by any living creature within this material world. Therefore, they are said to be Apaursheya. No one can trace out the history of the Vedas. Of course, modern human civilization has no chronological history of the world or the universe, and it cannot present the actual historical facts or older than 3000 years. But no one has traced out when the Vedas were written, because they were never written by any living being within this material world. All other systems of knowledge are defective because they have been written or spoken by men or demigods who are products of this material creation. But Bhagavad Gita is Apaursheya, for it was not spoken by any human being or any demigod of this material creation. It was spoken by Lord Krishna, who is beyond the material creation. That is accepted by such stalwart scholars as Sankaracharya, not to speak of other acharyas such as Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya. Sankaracharya has accepted that Narayana and Krishna are transcendental, and in the Bhagavad Gita also Lord Krishna has established Aham Sarvasya Prabho Mattas Sarvam Pravartate. In I am the origin of I am the origin of everything. Everything has emanated from me. This material creation, including Brahma and Shiva and all the demigods, has been created by him, for everything has emanated from him. He also says that Vedescha Sarvair Ahameva Vedyaha. The purpose of all Vedas is to understand him. He is the original Vedavit, or knower of Vedanta, and Vedanta Krit, or compiler of the Vedas. Brahma is not the compiler of the Vedas. In the beginning of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it is established Tene Brahma Hrida. The supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, instructed Brahma in the Vedic knowledge through his heart. Therefore, the evidence that Vedic knowledge is free from the defects of mistakes, illusions, cheating, and imperfection is that it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of God at Janardana and has thus been followed from time immemorial, beginning from Brahma. The Vedic religion or the principles of the Vedas have been followed by the highly cultured population of India since time immemorial. No one can trace out the history of Vedic religion. Therefore, it is Sanatana, and any blasphemy against the Vedas is calculated to be atheism. The Vedas are described as Shetu, which means bridge. If one wants to attain his spiritual existence, one has to cross an ocean of nescience. The Vedas are the bridge to cross such a great ocean. The Vedas describe how to divide the human race into four divisions according to quality and working capacity. It is a very scientific system and it is also Sanatana, for no one can trace out its history and it has no dissolution. No one can stop the system of Varna and Ashrama or the castes and divisions. So, for example, whether or not one accepts the name Brahmana, there is a class in society which is known as the intelligent class and which is interested in spiritual understanding and philosophy. Similarly, there is a class of men who are interested in administration and in ruling others. In the Vedic system, these marsh martially spirited men are called Kshatriyas. Similarly, everywhere there is a class of men who are interested in economic development, business, industry, and money making. They are called Vaishyas. And there is another class who are neither intelligent nor martially spirited nor endowed with the capacity for economic development, but who simply can serve others. They are called Sudras or the laborer class. This system is Sanatana. It comes from time immemorial and will continue in the same way. There is no power in the world which can stop it. Therefore, since this Sanatana Dharma system is eternal, one can elevate himself to the highest standard of living spiritual life by following the Vedic principles. It is stated that formerly the sages followed this system. Therefore, to follow the Vedic system is to follow the standard etiquette of society. But the followers of Lord Shiva, who are drunkards, who are addicted to intoxicants and sex life, who do not bathe, and who smoke ganja, are against all human etiquette. The conclusion is that persons who rebel against the Vedic principles are themselves the evidence that the Vedas are authoritative authoritative because by not following the Vedic principles they become like animals. Such animalistic persons are themselves evidence of the supremacy of the Vedic regulations. Text 32. Tad Brahma paramam suddham satam vartma sanatanam vigarhya yata pashandam daivam yo yatra bhutarat. Synonyms: tat, that, Brahma, Vedic, Brahma, Veda, Paramam, supreme, Suddham, pure, Satam, of the saintly persons, Vartma, path, Sanatanam, eternal, Vigrahaya, Vigarhya, blaspheming, Yata, should go, Pashandam, to atheism, Daivam, deity, Vaha, your, Yatra, where, Bhuta, Rat, the Lord of the Bhutas. Translation: by blaspheming the principles of the Vedas, which are the pure and supreme path of the saintly person, certainly you followers of Bhotapati, Lord Shiva, will descend to the standard of atheism without a doubt. Purport: Lord Shiva is described here as Bhota Rat. The ghosts and those who are situated in the material mode of ignorance are called Bhutas. So, Bhotarat means the leader of the creatures who are in the lowest standard of the material modes of nature. Another meaning of Bhuta is anyone who has taken birth or anything which is produced. So, in that sense, Lord Shiva may be accepted as the father of this material world. Here, of course, Bhrugumuni takes Lord Shiva as the leader of the lowest creatures. The characteristics of the lowest class of men have already been described. They do not bathe, they have long hair on their heads, and they are addicted to intoxicants. In comparison to the path followed by the followers of Bhotarat, the Vedic system is certainly excellent, for it promotes people to spiritual life as the highest eternal principle of human civilization. If one decrees or blasphemes the Vedic principles, then he falls to the standard of atheism. Text 33. Maitreya Uvacha तस्यैवं वदतः शापं भृगोस भगवान् भवः निश्चक्राम ततः किञ्चिद् विमना इव शानुगः. Synonyms. Maitreya Vacha, Maitreya said, Tasya of him, evam thus, Vadatah being spoken, Shapam curse, Bhrugoh of Bhrugu, Saha he, Bhagavan the possessor of all opulences, Bhavaha Lord Shiva, Nishkarama went Tataha from there, Kinchit somewhat, Vimanah Moros, Iva as Sa Anugaha, followed by his disciples. Translation. The sage Maitreya said, when such cursing and counter cursing was going on between his followers and the parties of Daksha and Bhrigu, Lord Shiva became very morose. Not saying anything, he left the arena of the sacrifice, followed by his disciples. Purport. Here, Lord Shiva's excellent character is described. In spite of the cursing and counter cursing between the parties of Daksha and Shiva, because he is the greatest Vaishnava, he was so sober that he did not say anything. A Vaishnava is always tolerant, and Lord Shiva is considered the topmost Vaishnava. So his character, as shown in this scene, is excellent. He became morose because he knew that these people, both his men and Dakshas, were unnecessarily cursing and counter cursing one another without any interest in the spiritual life. From his point of view, he did not see anyone as lower or higher because he is a Vaishnava. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Pandita Samadarshinaha, one who is perfectly learned, does not see anyone as lesser or greater because he sees everyone from the spiritual platform. Thus, the only alternative left to Lord Shiva was to leave in order to stop his follower Nandishvara as well as Bhrugumuni from cursing and counter cursing in that way. Text 34. Tepi Vishwasrijaha Shatram सहस्र परिवर्तसरान् संविद्धाय महेश्वासा यत्रेज्य ऋषभो हरिः. Synonyms. Te those api even Vishwasrajah, progenitors of the universal population, Satram, the sacrifice, Tahasra, 1000, Parivartaran, years, some with Vidhaya, performing Maheshwasa, O Vidura, Yatra, in which Idyaha, to be worshipped, Rishabhaha, the preceding deity of all demigods, Harihi Hari. Translation. The sage Maitreya continued, O Vidura, all the progenitors of the universal population thus executed a sacrifice for thousands of years, for sacrifice is the best way to worship the Supreme Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. Purport. It is clearly stated here that the stalwart personalities who generate the entire population of the world are interested in satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead by offering sacrifices. The Lord also says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam, one may engage in performing sacrifices and severe austerities for perfection, but they are all meant to satisfy the Supreme Lord. If such activities are performed for personal satisfaction, that is called Pashanda or atheism, but when they are performed for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, that is the Vedic principle. All the assembled sages performed sacrifices for 1000 years. Text 35. Aplutyavabhritam yatra Ganga Yamunayanvita Virajenatmana sarve swam swam dhama yayustataha. Synonyms: aplutya, taking a bath. Avabhritam, the bath which is taken after performing sacrifices. Yatra, where. Ganga, the river Ganges. Yamunaya, by the river Yamuna. Anvita, mixed. Virajena, without infection. Atmana, by the mind. Sarve, all. Swam, their respective. Dhama, abodes. Yayuhu, went. Tataha, from there. Translation: My dear Vidra, carrier of bows and arrows, all the demigods who were performing the sacrifice took their bath at the confluence of the Ganges and the Yamuna after completing the Yajna performance. Such a bath is called Avabhrita Snana. Thus becoming purified in heart, they departed for their respective abodes. Purport: After Lord Shiva and previously Daksha left the arena of sacrifice, the sacrifice was not stopped. The sages went on for many years in order to satisfy the Supreme Lord. The sacrifice was not destroyed for want of Shiva and Daksha, and the sages went on with their activities. In other words, it may be assumed that if one does not worship the demigods, even up to Lord Shiva and Brahma, one can nevertheless satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Kamais tair krita jnanaha prapadyantenya devataha. Persons who are impelled by lust and desire go to the demigods to derive some material benefit. Bhagavad Gita uses the very specific words nasti buddhihi, meaning persons who have lost their sense or intelligence. Only such persons care for demigods and want to derive material benefit from them. Of course, this does not mean that one should not show respect to the demigods, but there is no need to worship them. One who is honest may be faithful to the government, but he does not need to bribe the government servants. Bribery is illegal. One does not bribe a government servant, but that does not mean that he does not show him respect. Similarly, one who engages in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord does not need to worship any demigod, nor does he have any tendency to show disrespect to the demigods. Come on, roll. Disrespect to the demigods. Elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Yepi anya devata bhaktya yajante shraddhayan vitaha. The Lord says that anyone who worships the demigods is also worshipping him, but he is worshipping avidhi porvakam, which means without following the regulative principles. The regulative principle is to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Worship of demigods may indirectly be worship of the personality of Godhead, but it is not regulated. By worshipping the Supreme Lord, one automatically serves all the demigods because they are parts and parcels of the whole. If one supplies water to the root of a tree, all the parts of the tree, such as the leaves and branches, are automatically satisfied. And if one supplies food to the stomach, all the limbs of the body, the hands, the legs, fingers, etc., are nourished. Thus, by following the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can satisfy all the demigods, but by worshipping all the demigods, one does not completely worship the Supreme Lord. Therefore, worship of the demigods is irregular and it is disrespectful to the spiritual injunctions. In this age of Kali, it is practically impossible to perform the Deva Yajna or sacrifices to the demigods. As such, in this age, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam recommends Sankirtana Yajna. Yajnesha Sankirtana प्रायेर यजन्ति ही सुमेधसः. Bhagavatam 11:5-32. In this age, the intelligent person completes the performances of all kinds of yajnas simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tasmin tushte Jagat Tushtaha. When Lord Vishnu is satisfied, all the demigods who are part and parcels of the Supreme Lord are satisfied. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the fourth canto, second chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam entitled Daksha curses Lord Shiva.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna, bro. Nandotram to all of you. Jai
Hare Krishna, Shubham Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Vivek Prabhu, Dandat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna,
Okay, next Vivek Prabhu can read from the beginning of next chapter. Thank you so much, Praveen Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Chapter 3 Talks between Lord Shiva and Sati. Maitreya Uvacha Sada Vish Sada Vidvisatro Kalo Vai Dhriyamanayo Jamathu Surasyapi Sumahan Karame Maitreya Vacha. Maitreya said, Sada, constantly, with Vishsato, the intention, evam, in this manner, Kala time, Vai, certainly, Driyamanayo, continue to bear, Ja, Jamatho, Jamat, of the son-in-law, Swasurasya, of the father-in-law, P.E.1, Mahan, a very great, Aticha Karame, past translation. Maitreya continued, in this manner the tension between the father-in-law and son-in-law, Daksha and Lord Shiva continued for a considerably long period. Purport. The previous chapter has already explained that Vidura questioned the sage Maitreya as to the cause of the misunderstanding between Lord Shiva and Daksha. Another question is why the strife between Daksha and his son-in-law caused Sati to destroy her body. The chief reason for Sati's giving up her body was that her father, Daksha, began another sacrificial performance to which Lord Shiva was not invited at all. Generally, when any sacrifice is performed, although each and every sacrifice is intended to pacify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, all the demigods, especially Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and the other principal demigods such as Indra and Chandra are invited and they take part. It is said that unless all the demigods are present, no sacrifice is complete. In the tension between the father-in-law and son-in-law, Daksha began another yajna performance to which Lord Shiva was not invited. Daksha was the chief progenitor employed by Lord Brahma, and he was a son of Brahma, so he had a high position and was also very proud. Text 2. यदा यदा यदाभिषिक्तो दक्षस्तु ब्रह्मणा परमेष्ठिना प्रजापति प्रजापतीनां सर्वेषाम् आधिपत्ये संयोऽभवत् यदा when Abhishekta appointed Daksha to but Brahmana Brahmana by Brahma Brahma Prameshtina, the supreme teacher, Prajapatinam of the Prajapatis, Sarvesham all, Adipati as the chief, Samya puffed up, Abhavat he became. Translation: When Lord Brahma appointed Daksha as the chief of all the Prajapatis, the progenitors of population, Daksha became very much puffed up. Although he was envious and was inimical towards Lord Shiva, Daksha was appointed the chief of all Prajapatis. That was the cause of his excessive pride. When a man becomes too proud of his material possessions, he can perform any disastrous act. So, Daksha acted out of false prestige. That he is described in this chapter. Text 3. Istva sa vajapyena brahmistyan abhibhuya cha बृहस्पति स्वं नाम सम्रेभ्ये कृतुत्मनम् इष्ट्वा. After performing सः हि दक्षा वजाप्येन विद्ये वजाप्येय sacrifice Brahmistana. Shiva and his followers Abhibhuya neglecting Cha and Brahaspati Swam. The Brahaspati Swaha Nama called Samare began Kartu Uttamam, the best of sacrifices. Translation: Daksha began a sacrifice named Vajapaya, and he became excessively confident of his support by Lord Brahma. He then performed another great sacrifice named Brahaspati Swaha. Purport: in the Vedic Vedas, it is described that before performing a Brahaspati Swaha sacrifice, one should perform the sacrifice named Vajapaya. While performing these sacrifices, however, Daksha neglected great devotees like Lord Shiva. According to Vedic scriptures, the demigods are eligible to participate in yajnas and share the obligations, but he wanted to avoid them. All the sacrifices are intended to pacify Lord Vishnu, but Lord Vishnu includes all his devotees. Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the other demigods are all obedient servants of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Lord Vishnu is never satisfied without them. But Daksha, being puffed up with his power, want to deprive Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva of participation in the sacrifices. Understanding that if one satisfies Vishnu, it is not necessary to satisfy his followers, but the but that it is not the process. Vishnu wants his followers to be satisfied first. Lord Krishna says, Madbhakta Puja Adhika. The worship of my devotees is better than worship of myself. Similarly, in the Shiva Purana, it is stated that the best mode of worship is to offer obligations to Vishnu, but better than that is to worship the demigods, devotees of Krishna. Obligations to Krishna. Thus, Daksha's determination to neglect Lord Shiva, his sacrifices, was not fitting. Text 4. तस्मिन् ब्रह्मस्य सर्वे देवश्रीपितृदेवता असंकृतस्वस्य अन्यस्तत्पत्यान् तत्पत्याश्च स वृत्तिकृता तस्मिन्. In that sacrifices Brahmasya Brahmarasya, the Brahma Rishis, Sarve, all, Devashri, the Devashris, Pitir, ancestors, Devata, demigods, Asan, where Vrita, Swati, Ayana, were very nicely decorated with ornaments. Tat, Patya, their wives, Cha and Sa, Vrithaka, along with their husbands. Translation: while the sacrifice was being performed, many Brahma rishis, great sages, and ancestral demigods and other demigods, their wives, all very nicely decorated with ornaments, attended from different parts of the universe. Purport: in any auspicious ceremony, such as a marriage ceremony, a sacrificial ceremony, or puja ceremony, It is auspicious for married women to decorate themselves very nicely with ornaments, fine clothing, and cosmetics. These are auspicious signs, and many heavenly women assembled with their husbands, the Devastris, demigods, and Rajastris in that great sacrifice named Brahaspati Swaha. It is specifically mentioned in this verse that they approached with their husbands. For when a woman is decorated nicely, her husband becomes more cheerful. The nice decorations, ornaments, and dress of all the wives of the demigods and sages, and the cheerfulness of the demigods and sages themselves were all auspicious signs for the ceremony. Text 5 wait a second. Wants to continue, so continue.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Prediction.
Wants to be next?
If not, I can continue.
Yes,
Is
yes.
there
May I read?
Shubham?
Yes, Shubham Prabhu, you can read.
तद उपस्तुति नवसी खेचराणां प्रजल्पतां सती दक्षिणी देवी पितृयज्ञमहोत्सवम्. Yes, bro, it's cool. भ्रजन्ति हि सर्वतो दिग्भ्यः वो देववरस्त्रियः विमानयानासप्रेष्ठा निष्कन्तिः सुवाचस दृष्ट्वा स्वनिर्णयाभ्यासे लोलाक्षिरमृष्टकुण्डला पतिं भूतपतिं देवम् अव्यभासत. That then upasthrutya, hearing numbers in the sky, Khecharanam, of those who were flying in the air, the Gandharvas, Prajalpatam, the conversation, Sati Dev, Dakshani, the daughter of Daksha Devi, the wife of Shiva, Pitri Yagya Mahotsavam, the great festival of sacrifice performed by her father. Brajanti were going Sarvada from all Digbhya direction. Upadeva Varastriya, the beautiful wives of the demigods. Yes, bro, where was I? Can you show me?
Prabhu, I got lost also. Which word it was?
Upadeva Varastriya, the beautiful wives of demigods. Vimanayana, flying in their airplanes, Sapreshta, along with their husband, Niskanti, beautifully glittering eyes, Niskanti, having nice necklace with locket, so was dressed in fine clothing, but yeah. दृष्ट्वा seeing Swanidai Abhyasti near her residence. Lolakshi, having beautiful glittering eyes, breast kundala, nice earrings, Patim, her husband, Bhutapatim, the master of the Bhutas, Devam, the demigods, Avkantyat from great anxiety, Abhyabhasata, she spoke. The chaste lady Sati, the daughter of Daksha, heard the heavenly engine flying in the sky, conversing about the great sacrifice being performed by her father. When she saw that from all directions the beautiful wives of the heavenly engine, their eyes very beautifully glittering, were near her residence and were going to sacrifice, dressed in fine clothing and ornamented with earrings and necklace with lockets. She approached her husband, the master of Bhutas, in great anxiety and spoke as follows. Purport. It appears that residence of Lord Shiva was not on this planet, but was somewhere in outer space. Otherwise, how could Sati see the airplane coming from different direction towards this planet and hear the passengers talking about the great sacrifice being performed by Daksha? Sati is described here as Dakshani because she was the daughter of Daksha. The mention of Devara refers to inferior demigods like the Gandharvas, Kinras, and Urkas, who are not exactly demigods but are between the demigods and human beings. They are also coming in planes. The yes, school words. The words Sunnilia Pyasa indicate that they were passing right near residency quarters. The dresses and body feature of the wives of heavenly dungeons are very nicely described here. Their eyes, movement, earrings, and other ornaments glittered and cleared. Their dresses were the nicest possible, and all of them had a special locket on their necklace. Each woman was accompanied by her husband. Thus they looked so beautiful that Sati Dakshani was impelled to dress similarly and go to the sacrifice with her husband. This is natural inclination of a woman. Thank you, bro.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, we will read few more verses. So who wants to read the last 2 or 3 verses?
I can read, Prabhu.
Haribol, thank you, Prabhu.
Text 8. Satya Uvacha Prajapateste Swasurasya Sampratam Niriyapito Yajna Mahotsava Kila Vayam Cha Tatra Bhisharama Vamate Yadya Artitami Vibhuda Virajanali He. Synonyms. Sati Uvacha. Sati said, Prajapate of Daksha, te your Swasurasya of your father-in-law, Sampratam. Nowadays, Niryapati has been started. Yajna Mahotsava, a great sacrifice. Kila, certainly. Vayam, we, cha, and tatra, there. Abhisharame Rama, may go. Vama, oh my dear Lord Shiva, te, your, yadi, if. Arthita, desire, Ami, these, Vibhuda, demigods, Vrijanti are going, he, because. Translation purport by St. Grace, C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Sati said, my dear Lord Shiva, your father-in-law is now executing great sacrifices, and all the demigods having been invited by him are going there. If you desire, we may also go. Purport. Sati knew of the tension between her father and her husband, but still she expressed to her husband, Lord Shiva, that since such sacrifices were going on at her father's house and so many demigods were going, she also desired to go, but she could not express her willingness directly. And so she told her husband that if he desired to go, then she could also accompany him. In other words, she submitted her desire very politely to her husband. Text 9. तस्मिन् भागिन्यो मां भ्रता भरतृभिः स्वकैर्ध्रुवां गमिष्यन्ति सुहृद्दिदृक् अहं च तस्मिन् भवद्भिः सहोपनीतं परिभारम् अर्हितुं तस्मिन् in that sacrifice Bhaginya sisters mama my Bhartribhi with their husbands Swakai their own Dhruvam surely Gamishyanti will go Suritidrikshava desiring to meet the relatives Aham I Cha and Tasmin in that assembly Bhavata with you Lord Shiva Abhikamaye I desire Saha with Upanitam given Paribarham ornaments of decoration Arhitum to accept translation. I think that all my sisters must have gone to this great sacrificial ceremony with their husbands just to see their relatives. I also desire to decorate myself with the ornaments given to me by my father and go there with you to participate in that assembly. Purport: it is a woman's nature to want to decorate herself with ornaments and nice dresses, and accompany her husband to social functions, meet friends and relatives, and enjoy life in that way. This propensity is not unusual because woman is the basic principle of material enjoyment. Therefore, in Sanskrit, the word for woman is stri, which means one who expands the field of material enjoyment. In the material world, there is an attraction between a man and woman. This is the arrangement of conditional life. A woman attracts a man, and in that way, the scope of material activities involving house, wealth, children, and friendship increases, and thus, instead of decreasing one's material demands, one becomes entangled in material enjoyment. Lord Shiva, however, is different. Therefore, his name is Shiva. He is not at all attracted by material enjoyment. Although his wife Sati was the daughter of a very great leader and was given to him by the request of Brahma, Lord Shiva was reluctant, but Sati, as a woman, the daughter of a king, wanted enjoyment. She wanted to go to her father's house, just as her other sisters might have done, and meet them and enjoy social life. She specifically indicated that she would decorate herself with the ornaments given by her father. She did not say that she would decorate herself with the ornaments given by her husband, because her husband was careless about all such matters. He did not know how to decorate his wife and take part in social life because he was always in ecstasy with the thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to the Vedic system, a daughter is given a sufficient dowry at the time of her marriage. So Sati was also given a dowry by her father, and ornaments were included. It is also the custom that the husband gives some ornaments, but here it is particularly mentioned that her husband, being materially almost nothing, could not do so. Therefore, she wanted to decorate herself with the ornaments given by her father. It was fortunate for Sati that Lord Shiva did not take the ornaments from his wife and spend them for ganja, because those who imitate Lord Shiva in smoking ganja exploit everything from household affairs. They take all of their wives' properties and spend on smoking, intoxication, and other similar activities. Text 10. तत्र स्वश्रीमे ननु भृत्रसंहिता मात्र स्वश्रीक्लीन्न धियं च मातरं दृक्षे चिरोत्कण्ठमनमहर्षिभिरुन्नीयमानं च मृतध्वरद्विध्वजं तत्र their swastra own sisters may my Nanu surely Brit Samhita along with their husbands Matra Swastra, the sisters of my mother Klina the affectionate Cha and Mataram mother Trikshe I shall see Chira Utkantamana being very anxious for a long time. Maharshibi the great sages Unni Yamanam being raised up Cha and Mrida O Shiva Adhvara sacrifice Dvajam flags. Translation. My sisters, the sisters of my mother, and their husbands and other affectionate relatives must be assembled there. So if I go, I shall be able to see them, and I shall be able to see the flapping flags and the performance of sacrifice by the great sages. For these reasons, my dear husband, I am very much anxious to go. Purport. As stated before, the tension between the father and the son in law is persisted for a considerable time. So Sati had not gone to her father's house for a long while. Thus, she was very anxious to go to her father's house, particularly because on that occasion her sisters and their husbands and her mother's sisters would be there. As is natural for a woman, she wanted to dress equally to her other sisters and also be accompanied by her husband. She did not, of course, want to go alone. Text 11. त्वयि एतद् आश्चर्यम् अजात्ममायया विनिर्मितं भतिगुणत्रयात्मकं तथाप्यहं योषित् अतत्त्वविच्यते दीनातिथ्रिक्षे भव मे भवाक्षितिं त्वयि in you etat this Ascharyam wonderful Aja O Lord Shiva Atma Maya by the external energy of the Supreme Lord Vinirmitam created Bhati appears Gunatraya Atmakam being an interaction of the three modes of material nature. Tathapi even so Aham I Yoshit woman Atatvavit not conversant with the truth Cha and Te your Dina poor Nitrikshe I wish to see Bhava O Lord Shiva may my Bhava Kshitim place of birth. Translation. Although this cosmic manifestation is a wonderful creation of the internal interaction of the three material modes, or the external energy of the Supreme Lord, the truth is fully known to you. Yet I am a poor woman, and as you know, I am not conversant with the truth. Therefore, I wish to see my birthplace once more. Purport. Dakshayani Sati very well that her husband knew very well that her husband, Lord Shiva, was not very much interested in the glaring manifestation of the material world, which is caused by the interaction of the three modes of nature. Therefore, she addressed her husband as Aja, one who has transcended the bondage of birth and death, or one who has realized his eternal position. She stated, the illusion of accepting the perverted reflection, the material or cosmic manifestation, to be real is not present in you because you are self realized. For you, the attraction of social life and the consideration that someone is father, someone is mother, and someone is sister, which are illusory relationships, is already over. But because I am a poor woman, I am not so advanced in transcendental realization. Therefore, naturally, these appear to me as real. Only less intelligent persons accept this perverted reflection of the spiritual world to be real. Those who are under the spell of the external energy accept this manifestation to be fact, whereas those who are advanced in spiritual realization know that it is illusion. Actually, reality is elsewhere in the spiritual world. But as far as I am concerned, Sati said, I do not have much knowledge about self realization. I am poor because I do not know the actual facts. I am attracted by my birthplace and I want to see it. One who has attraction for his birthplace, for his body, and for other such items mentioned in the Bhagavatam is considered to be like an ass or a cow. Sati might have heard all this many times from her husband, Lord Shiva, but because she was a woman, Yoshit, she still hankered after the same material objects of affection. The word Yoshit means one who is enjoyed. Therefore, woman is called Yoshit. In spiritual advancement, association with Yoshit is always restricted because if one is like a play doll in the hands of Yoshit, then all his spiritual advancement is at once stopped. It is said those who are just like playthings in the hands of a woman cannot make any advancement in spiritual realization. Text 12. पश्य प्रयन्तिरभावन्ययोषितो प्ये अलङ्कृतास्कण्ठशखवरुथसा यस्यां व्रजद्भिः नाभो विमाने कालहंसपण्डुभिः Pasha, Jesse, Prayanti, going, Abhava or never born, Anya Yoshita, other women, Api, certainly, Alankrita, ornamented, Kanta Shakha, with their husbands and friends, Varus, Varuthasa, in large numbers, Yasham of them, Vrajadpi, flying, Siti Kantha, O blue-throated one, Manditam, decorated, Naba, the sky, Vimane, with airplanes, Kalahamsa, swans, Pandubi, white. Translation: O never born, O blue-throated one, not only my relatives but also other women dressed in nice clothes and decorated with ornaments are going there with their husbands and friends. Just see how their flock of white airplanes have made the entire sky very beautiful. Purport: Here Lord Shiva is addressed as Abhava, which means one who is never actually born, although generally he is known as Bhava, one who is born. Actually, Rudra, Lord Shiva, is born from the eyes of Brahma, who is called Swayambhuva because he is not born of any human being or material creature, but is born directly from the lotus flower which grows from the abdomen of Vishnu. When Lord Shiva is addressed here as Abhava, this may be taken to mean one who has never felt material miseries. Sati wanted to impress upon her husband that even those who were not related to her father were also going to say nothing of herself. who was intimately related with him. Lord Shiva is addressed here as blue-throated. Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison and kept it in his throat, not swallowing it or allowing it to go down to his stomach, and thus his throat became blue. Since then, he has been known as Nilakanta or blue-throated. The reason that Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison was for others' benefit. When the ocean was churned by the demigods and the demons, the churning at first produced poison. So, because the poisonous ocean might have affected others who were not so advanced, Lord Shiva drank all of the ocean water. In other words, he could drink with such a great amount of poison for others' benefit, and now, since his wife was personally requesting him to go to her father's house, even if he did not wish to give that permission, he should do so out of his great kindness. Text 13. कथं सूतयः पितृगेह कौतुकं निशाम्य देहसुरावरये नेङ्गते अना अनाहुताप्यभ्यन्ति सौहृदं भ्रातुर्गुरोर्देहकृतश्च केतनं कथं हौ सूतय of a daughter पितृगेह Kautukam, the festival in the house of her father, Nishamya, hearing Deha, the body, Suravarya, O best of the demigods, Na, not Ingate, disturbed, Anahutta, without being called Abhi, even Abhiyanti goes Sauridam, a friend, Bhratu, of the husband, Guru, of the spiritual master, Dehakrita, of the father, Cha and Ketanam, the house. Translation. O best of the demigods, how can the body of a daughter remain undisturbed when she hears that some festival event is taking place in her father's house? Even though you may be considering that I have not been invited, there is no harm if one goes to the house of his friend, husband, spiritual master, or father without invitation. Text 14. तन्मे प्रसीदेदम् अमृत्य वञ्चितं कर्तुं भवान् करुणिको बतर्हति त्वयात्मनो हृदे हम अदभ्र चक्षुषा निरुक्तमनुग्रहणा yachita that therefore may unto me prasida, please be kind, idam this, amartya, of O immortal Lord, vanchitam desire, kartum to do, bhavan your honor, karunika kind, bata O Lord, arhati is able, tvaya by you, atmana of your body, arthe in the half, I, adabra chakshusha, having all knowledge, niru Pita, am situated, ma to me, Anugrahana, please show kindness, Yachita requested. Translation. O immortal Shiva, please be kind towards me and fulfill my desire. You have accepted me as half of your body. Therefore, please show kindness towards me and accept my request. Text 15. ऋषिर् उवाच एवं गिरितत्र प्रिययाभिभाषित प्रत्याप्यदात प्रशान् सुहृत्प्रिय संश्रितो मर्मभीदा कुवा गीषुन् यन् अहो को Vishwasrijam Samakshata Rishiruvacha. The great sage Maitreya said, Evam thus Giritra, Lord Shiva Priya by his dear wife Abhi Bhashita being spoken to, Pratyabhadyatta replied Prashan while smiling, Surit Priya, dear to the relatives, Samsmrita, remembering, Marmabhida, heart piercing, Kuvad Ishun, malicious words, Yan which words, I, Kahu Daksha, Vishwasrijam of the creators of the universal manifestation, Samkshata in the presence. Translation. The great sage Maitreya said, Lord Shiva, the deliverer of the hill Kailasha, thus being addressed by his dear wife, replied smilingly, although at the same time, he remembered the malicious, heart-piercing speeches delivered by Daksha before the guardians of the universal affairs. Purport. When Lord Shiva heard from his wife about Daksha, the psychological effect that that he immediately remembered the strong words which were spoken against him in the assembly of the guardians of the universe, and remembering those words, he was sorry at heart. Although to please his wife, he smiled. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that a liberated person is always in mental equilibrium in both the distress and the happiness of this material world. Therefore, the question may now be raised why a liberated personality like Lord Shiva was so unhappy because of the words of Daksha. The answer is given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Lord Shiva is Atmarama, or situated in complete self realization. But because he is the incarnation in charge of the material mode of ignorance, Tamoguna, he is sometimes affected by the pleasure and the pain of the material world. The difference between the pleasure and the pain of this material world and the of the spiritual world is that in the spiritual world the effect is qualitatively absolute. Therefore, one may feel sorry in the absolute world, but the manifestation of so-called pain is always full of bliss. For instance, once Lord Krishna in his childhood was chastised by his mother Yashoda, and Lord Krishna cried. But although he shed tears from his eyes, that is not to be considered a reaction of the mode of ignorance, for the incident was full of transcendental pleasure. When Krishna was playing in so many ways, sometimes it appeared that he caused distress to the gopis, but actually such dealings were full of transcendental bliss. That is the difference between the material and spiritual worlds. The spiritual world, where everything is pure, is pervertedly reflected in this material world. Since everything in the spiritual world is absolute, in the spiritual varieties of apparent pleasure and pain, there is no other perception than eternal bliss, whereas in the material world, because everything is contaminated by the modes of material nature, there are feelings of pleasure and pain. Therefore, because Lord Shiva, although a fully self realized person, was in charge of the material mode of ignorance, he felt sorrow. Text 16 Shri Bhagavan Vacha त्वयोदितं शोभनम् एव शोभने अन्नाहुता अप्य अभियन्ति बन्धुषु ते यद्य अनुपादिता यो दोषदृष्टयो बलियशनात्म्यमदेन मनु मन्युना. Shri Bhagavan was the great Lord replied, Tvaya, the Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the great Lord replied, Tvaya by you. Uditam said, Shobhanam, it is true, Eva certainly. Shobhane, my dear, beautiful wife. Ana, Ana,
Haribol. Prabhu, your connection went.
Prabhu, if someone wants to continue.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, and we can go to the 6 Astakam prayers. You read so many verses. That's really nice. Okay, Haribol.
What about this translation tells you? Like, see the translation.
Prabhu, you can read this one. Vivek, Prabhu, you can read this 16. It's really short one.
Okay.
From the word to word.
Okay. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the great Lord, replied, Vaya, by you, Uditam. Uditam said, Sobanam is true, Eva certainly, so Bahani, my dear beautiful wife, Anahuta, without being invited, Api even, Abhiyanti, go, Bandhushu, among friends, they those friends, Yadi, if anu, anu, anutpadita, anutpadita, dosha, drishtaya, not finding fault, baliyasha, more important, anatma, anatma, anatyama, dena, by plight caused by identification with the body, anu, sorry, manyuna, by angry. Translation. The great Lord replied, My dear beautiful wife, you have said that one may go to a friend's house without being invited, and this is true, provided such a friend does not find fault with the guest because of bodily identification and by them angry towards him. This provided such a friend does not find fault with the guest because of the identification. Because of body identification, they became angry towards him. Purport. Lord Shiva glowed policy that as soon as Sati reached her father's house, her father Daksha, being too puffed up because of bodily identification, would be angry at her presence, and although she was innocent and faultless, he would be miserably angry towards her. He warned that since her father was too puffed up by his material possessions, he would be angry, and this would be intolerable for her. Therefore, it was better that she could not go. This fact was already experienced by Lord Shiva, because although Lord Shiva was faultless, Daksha cursed him in so many harsh words.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. So yesterday, yesterday I was not joined. Yesterday, what happened to like Lord Shiva? I have seen some YouTube, not that much. I have used. What is the summary, Prabhu? Yesterday's presentation. Just brief, Prabhu.
Praveen, Prabhu, do you remember what happened yesterday? I remember you read almost all. I would have to look at the.
It's okay, Prabhu. I will rewatch that. So
Yes, Prabhu, I a
again,
little bit forgot, but I think we read the beginning of the chapter.
about Lord Shiva, I think, like I have seen the some glimpse of the video, so all about Shiva was there. Okay, bro.
Yes, Prabhu, it was. Yes, Prabhu, the curse was explained. Yes, Prabhu, yesterday it was explained how they started to curse each other. The Brahmanas
Yes,
and
Prabhu.
of Lord Shiva, Nandishvara, they started to curse and then Lord Shiva left because he didn't want any more cursing.
First, Daksha gave curse to Lord Shiva, and then Nandishwar gave counter curse.
Yes,
And
Prabhu.
Bhrigu Muni also.
Yes,
Bhrigu Muni
Prabhu.
Lord Shiva's follower.
So what happened to Daksha there? Did he just leave, or no? Lord Shiva left, and then they
Yes,
completely.
Prabhu, Daksha lived, but now now his head will be cut off. Yesterday, I think we will read.
Yes, Prabhu.
He was cursed by Nandishwar.
So did they perform the sacrifice without Lord Shiva?
So there is no more information about that sacrifice. This is directly given this sacrifice.
Oh, see here it is said, 34. O Vidura, all the progenitors of the universal population thus executed a sacrifice for thousands of years, for sacrifice is the best way to worship Lord Hari. And yeah, Lord Shiva
Okay.
left. Before they started the sacrifice, Lord Shiva left. But you cannot do a sacrifice without all the demigods present, so that was that went against everything. Is it like that?
Daksha was also believed Prabhu, so
Oh,
I think that sacrifice was something like cancelled or
but see, but here it said that they executed the sacrifice. Praveen Prabhu, are
Prabhu,
you there?
no, bro, this was starting.
But see, here they say after the sacrifice they went home. They took a bath and they went home. All the demigods who were performing the sacrifice took their bath at Ganga and Yamuna. After completing the performance, they went
Yes,
home.
yes, Prabhu, yes. It may be that that sacrifice was performed without Daksha.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, it seems like that.
without Daksha.
Yes, Prabhu, and also
Or
without
with
Lord
Vishnu.
Shiva, I think. Oh, here it is. Yeah, today it was said in the beginning that Daksha became a sacrifice named Vayapeya. Then he started his own sacrifice.
When he was made a progenitor of was given a post by Brahma.
Yes, Prabhu. So they was he left and he wanted to make his own sacrifice. So yes, Prabhu. Now I
Oh,
understood.
then he wants. Oh, that sacrifice is going to be done now, no?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, and Lord Shiva now he's thinking
Yeah,
if
the
they go. Yes, Prabhu.
the Vaja Yagna, no? So he is doing now.
Olebam
Now
Prabhudan
just we have read
Hare Krishna, Lebang Prabhu, Dandar Pram, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my obeisances of God, Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you for joining, Prabhu Haribol. So Lord Shiva does not go, I think. Sati goes alone.
Sati goes
Yes,
alone. No,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Like the Shiva is telling about what will happen.
Sati has gone alone with Sati. There was associates of Lord Shiva also. So, Prabhu, Swami Prabhu have left us, Prabhu.
Became being temperature.
So, Prabhu, your connection was cut.
Yes, Prabhu, my battery ran out.
Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Yes, Prabhu, like Sati will go now. That's the
Yeah, he will go alone.
continuation of tomorrow.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hmm. Okay,
This chapter,
thank you so much.
this episode is
Prabhu,
very
uh,
interesting.
Yes, Prabhu. That's true.
hmm. Prabhu, reading session was 6:30 to daily, or some only for some time being you are doing, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Now we're changing because summer time is coming. So I need to do more early. Otherwise, it's difficult.
Oh, okay. Prabhu, this 6:30 is okay for you? Like in India, 6:30. Like today you started, na, that time.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes,
Hmm.
Prabhu. That's okay.
What time in there for you?
Now it's 4:30.
No, Prabhu. 4:30. Like for 6:30, it will be 2 hours.
Yes, Prabhu. Now it's 16:30.
16:30
4:30
now
p.m.
for 8 o'clock.
Like
For
now.
6:30, Prabhu,
Yes, Prabhu. Indian time, I
in
think we will
India,
start
6:30.
always like 6, yeah, 6 something.
No, Prabhu, 6:30, 6:30. You have
Yes.
started today 6:30.
Yeah, I'll try around
What
6:30
time
something.
was there that time? Uh,
Who remembers
what
what
time
time we
there,
start?
Prabhu? At 6:30. In India, 6:30. But in your country, what time? 6:30 means now 4:30 there. 1, 2, 3. 3.5 hours delay
Yes,
here
Prabhu.
today.
We are 3.5 hours behind.
Hmm. If that's the thing, 5, 4, 3. 3 o'clock. You have started today.
Yes, Prabhu.
That's the time it will be easy for us to join. Like 6:30 is okay for us. Another thing, Prabhu, if you will start the reading section 6:30, no, but other Prabhus will also do the YouTube lectures that time only in India. Like
Mm.
they will start 6:30. Vishwambar Prabhu will start also 6:30, and uh,
Yeah.
Tatvit Prabhu will start at 5:30. Something that timing.
Yes,
So
Prabhu. We'll see what.
all will college.
Yes, Prabhu. We will try to adjust
So
it, Prabhu.
let's see.
Yes,
Uh,
Prabhu.
let's see, Prabhu.
Yesterday, question
Okay, thank you
answer
so much, Prabhu.
session also, Prabhu.
Yesterday,
Today
what?
maybe like
Question answer session of Sundar Gopal Prabhu on YouTube.
Yeah,
tomorrow, Prabhu,
that's on
tomorrow.
Thursday and Friday. Oh, yeah.
Hmm. Today was
Prabhu,
there Vishwambar Prabhu's
tomorrow,
class, but
tomorrow.
today is not.
Sorry.
No, Prabhu. Wednesday, Vishwambar Prabhu will do Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam classes. Like for
Today is Wednesday, Prabhu,
Prabhu has
na? Thursday.
Yes, Prabhu. It's not
no
like
Prabhu
always.
for Wednesday. Ah,
Let's
okay.
adjust that accordingly. Okay, who wants to start the 6 Astakam prayer?
Okay.
I can
Yes,
start.
so may I start?
Cheto Darpanama.
Yes, okay,
Chat,
yes.
chat, chat, chat.
Bro, may I read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Start, bro. Start.
चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भौमः दावाग्निर्वापणम् श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावतो जीवनम् अनन्तं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतात्वादनम् सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
Namna makariba huda nija sarva shaktis tadrar pita niyamitas barari nakalaha eta trashitava kripan bhagavan mamapi durudaiva met vishami haijina nuragraha.
तृणादपसुनिजेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिन मानदेन कीर्तनीय सदा हरि
Nadanam najanam nasundarim kavitam va jagadishaka maye mamajan manijan manishvare bhavata bhakti ahe toki twai.
ऐनन्दतनुजकिङ्करं पतितं मां विस्मे भावम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कज स्थितधूलिं सदृशं विचिन्तय
Nayanam Galadashrudharaya Vadanam Gadgadarudaya Gira Pulakairina Chittam Vapukada Tavanam Grahane Bhavishyati.
युगायदं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृसायितं शून्य जगत् सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे
Asisleva Paratham Pinastumam Madarshanam Marmam Hatam Karotuva Yata Tatava Vidatulam Pato Mat Prananatastu Sa Eva Narpanaha.
Kibol. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the whole
also
of the
chant the
Lord in
holy
amber
name
state
of
of
the
mind.
Lord
Please.
in humble. Yes, bro, please go on, please, sorry.
Okay. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in amber state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than it, devoid of all self, false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda
Son of
Krishna,
Maharaj.
I am your eternal spiritual dear. Somehow or other, I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet.
Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but... Okay, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, go on. Kodi.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he
Yeah.
shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
Haribol, Shri Siksastakam ki jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Jai, Jai.
Aye.
Bahujanma kare adi Shravana Kirtan, Taputana Paya Krishna Pale Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many birds, he will not get the love of God. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
The second offense, to consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. Third offense, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master or thinking him as an ordinary person.
Fourth offense is to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic origin.
Fifth
Fifth offense
offense
is
to
to yes, Prabhu.
glory of Hare Krishna to be imagined.
Sixth offense
Sixth
is
of-
to give some. Yes, Prabhu, continue, please.
You can continue, Prabhu. Okay. Sixth offense, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
Eighth offense, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda.
Ninth offense is
Ninth offense to instruct the faithful person about the glories of the holy name.
10th offense is to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava and to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire is, and they are full of compassion for the fall of conditioned souls. Vansha kalpatarubhishya
Namo Namaha. And the Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your kind association. Really nice reading session again. We'll try to see the timing better. We are still searching for the right timing. So it will change like day by day. I will always send before we start from now, like half an hour before.
Yes,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
Prabhu, like
Till Wednesday, you can keep any time. I mean early, but from the Thursday, Friday there is Sundar Gopal Prabhu's session, and then there is also on Sunday.
Yes, Prabhu. We will need to maybe ask also what is best thing. But let's see. We'll find the best timing.
Like almost Indian timing, like evening after 5, like 5:36, after 6, like 6 means for you 2:30, Prabhu, because like in India all will be free after 6, something like that, after work. So it will be better be at 2:30 for you. After 2:30 you can start any timing.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu, for joining. It was really
So
nice.
let's see, Prabhu. If possible, you can do like that. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Hare Krishna.